It has been exactly 1 year since High School Musical, the series, officially ended. And even if we have had this show now for 5 years, that title is still way too long. Last year, today, on 9th of August 2023, the final season of High School Musical, the series, was released. And we said goodbye to the real-life Wildcats, for now at least. I have now re-watched it all, and so 1 year later, how does this show hold up? Because it's easy to forget just how much Disney was relying on this show. It was announced during the big D23 premiere when Disney Plus was first being announced, and it was one of the key selling points for this new streaming service. Back then, there was no Disney Plus Marvel Originals or Hulu added in bonus. There was actually very little to entice people to use this new service rather than carry on just using Amazon or Netflix. And the concept of this show was perfect for that reason, because it was all about Disney Channel. The perfect way to get young viewers who are fans of Disney Channel to get their parents to get Disney Plus to watch this, at the time, exclusive Disney Channel show. But also, since it was about High School Musical, it would get all of the nostalgic millennials and Generation Zs wanting to get the streaming service just to watch a spin-off to these iconic and classic films. And that is Disney Plus's target audience. I'd say the intriguing title and the strange concept definitely helped sell it, because it wasn't just a spin-off to High School Musical. In fact, it was practically a commentary on the original movies. It was a bunch of kids putting on the musical, allowing for insane fourth wall break moments, which were hilarious throughout the show, and extreme meta moments, especially in season 3, when they are literally meeting the cast, like Corbin Bleu, to be on a Disney Plus reality show, even though we're watching the show on Disney Plus. Like, it's just mad, but it worked so well. And clearly it was successful. It lasted for 4 seasons, which, if you know anything about Disney Channel shows, which is what this basically is meant to be, you know only the best of the best shows are allowed to go to 4 seasons. It also kickstarted the careers of some of the biggest celebrities we have in Hollywood today. Those people are probably going to be its lasting impact. Just like how the original High School Musical movies got Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens to where they are today, the same can be said for this show with the likes of Olivia Rodrigo and Joshua Bassett. Let's talk about Olivia Rodrigo just for a bit. This show allowed her to release her first song that she wrote called All I Want. It broke records, ended up on the chart, and I think it is still the most successful song from this entire franchise. And Olivia Rodrigo then became huge fame because of it. Plus, her on and off screen relationship with Joshua Bassett that this show created meant we got the incredible Sour album with Driver's License that basically started off the current most successful female artist of the 2020s. And Joshua Bassett, Sophia Wiley, the rest of the cast all aren't doing too bad either. Joshua Bassett is going on a massive tour with the Golden Years, and Sophia Wiley's social media presence is huge. So it clearly was successful at making the next generation of Disney stars who do tend to rule Hollywood and the celebrity industry. But the show definitely had its ups and downs due to outside factors and the general concept. I think most people would say season 1 is the best, which I'm a bit on the fence about, however I do get it. And it's slightly bad if you're thinking that season 1 is the best when there's 4 seasons, so did the show actually ever improve? Season 1 is definitely the most coherent and has some of the best character drama between the main 4 of Nene, Ricky, Gina and EJ. Even if it is the most cringy season, I mean, that first episode, it really hits you hard when you return to it, and it reminds you of what the vibe of this show is, and the entire show definitely owns this cringy vibe, which I have to applaud it for. And season 1 also has some of the most iconic songs. We've already mentioned All I Want, but also Just for a Moment, Born to be Brave, which the final episode title of the show ended up being the song title, Wondering, A Billion Sorries. They're all just so iconic. However, I don't think it was all just downhill after that. Season 2, they had the problem of, well, now the initial excitement and premise of the show is up. How do they carry this on? You'd think High School Musical 2. No. Instead, Beauty and the Beast, which at first I absolutely hated, but after watching season 3 and 4 and having this whole year to reflect on the show as a whole, I actually think it was the right call, because even if the title now makes zero sense after season 1, it allowed the show to explore so much more avenues, allowing for more of the meta fourth wall break moments, which are just brilliant. And the character development in season 2 is still brilliant. Plus, that treehouse scene still gets me, considering that it is not just Nene and Ricky breaking up, but definitely Olivia and Joshua.
I don't want to hold you back.
I don't want to hold you back either.
And there's still so many iconic songs from this season. Not as many as season 1, but still we have Second Chance, Even When in the Best Part, the Rose song. But then Olivia Rodrigo grew to massive fame and decided to leave the show. And I think this is where most people say the show declined. And I have to agree, it wasn't the same, but I don't actually think the show gets ruined because of it. It just had a little bump. Season 3 is definitely the weakest season because it doesn't have Olivia Rodrigo in. The character arcs are less structured and you can definitely feel the lack of Nene, as season 2 ended with so much potential for Nene, but instead they kind of have to think of a way to mean that her music career means she leaves the show, which on reflection they do pretty well considering the circumstances, but it's still not great. I'd say the good parts of season 3 are the really meta moments and what doing a Disney Plus reality show allowed them to do. Like the real campus of Shallow Lake, which is probably one of the best episodes of the entire show. It is so funny, and that was only allowed because of this concept. And the ending where they are on a literal Disney Plus red carpet is just absolutely hilarious. But the songs are definitely less iconic. I'd say the only great ones that are really big from season 3 are Finally Free and You Never Know, which are both great songs, but aren't hailed as some of the great classics of this show. So I'd say season 3 is definitely a lower moment of the show's history. And the problem with No Nene was what to do with the core 4, now 3. And I think the original plan was definitely for Gina and EJ to be endgame and Nene and Ricky to get back together after Ricky spends season 3 with Lily. Once Olivia had to leave, however, that whole plan is just completely destroyed. Lily only appears at the beginning, and Gina and EJ have a pretty messy relationship, and I'm meaning messy as in the writing is just messy, like it's just plain bad. Because they have to make it so that Gina and Ricky will be together by the end of the season, which at first I did not like, and season 3 I didn't think did it justice at all. That is until season 4, which I think is probably up there with season 1 as the strongest season. And that is because they finally worked out how to do this show without Olivia Rodrigo, and how to properly do the show justice for a final season. Go back to that original selling point. Theatre kids putting on a High School Musical. They bring back the nostalgia with having so many previous High School Musical actors returning to film High School Musical 4 and High School Musical 3 as the main premise to parallel their graduation from East High. And it's actually done really well and has some great iconic songs throughout, such as Maybe This Time, Speak Out, and Love You Forever. And season 4 does so well at making you rethink Gina and Ricky as a relationship and realising that when you rewatch the entire show as a whole, they have been endgame since the beginning, and that even if that wasn't the original plan, it does work so well. I mean, just look at Maybe This Time, flashbacking through why they should be together. Plus, Joshua Bassett and Sophia Wiley have such good chemistry, I think even better than Joshua Bassett and Olivia Rodrigo. And I think removing EJ as a main character for this season was the right move, because without Nene there as well, EJ just feels like an unnecessary extra, like he did throughout season 3. And I think season 4 actually saves the show because of how convincing Gina and Ricky are as a couple, that the lack of Nene doesn't hinder it. The only issue is with the other characters who have literally no arc whatsoever and are basically forgotten about in this season. But I think that's absolutely fine for this final season, as they really wanted to focus on Ricky and Gina, and I do think that was the best call. That being said, the finale itself, I think it's brilliant and so good and so emotional, but it has two big problems. Number one, it ties everything up, and I love them running into the limo and Ricky looking back and Miss Jen looking at the stage, but the storyline technically isn't finished because they set up a potential season 5 with Gina and Ricky in Hollywood, and if you want to go and see a whole video about what a potential season 5 could look like if they did do it in the future, there'll be a link to a video down below in the description, or you can go and click the card somewhere up there. And problem number 2, I feel like they needed to bring Nene back. She is mentioned, and I know it was probably a logistical nightmare to get Olivia Rodrigo to return, but it just feels slightly out of place not having her there for the end, considering she started the show, so it feels wrong not to see her end it. But regardless, it is still a great season ending. And so, a year on to reflect on High School Musical, the series, rewatching it all, how does it hold up? I actually think it holds up really well, and it's definitely one of the strongest Disney Plus originals that there is on the platform. Definitely stronger than anything Marvel or Star Wars have done, and I think it still holds up today. I definitely think it dipped in the middle, but is definitely saved by season 4, and there's various reasons as to why it dipped, and I think it wasn't necessarily just the show's fault as for the reason why. But I still think the show holds up today. I still really love watching it. So what do you guys think? How do you think this show still holds up today? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments, and as always, we've been here on Gate of Theories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.